Hello guys, you are welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to be looking at the remaining 4 questions to complete the continuous assessment test. But before we continue, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification button, turn it on, so that you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. And also make sure you comment below if there is something that you want us to improve on. For instance, you may say, I don't like your voice. You could change it. Maybe I will change my voice to a toy voice and make it more better to your listening. And also, maybe we talk too fast or I talk too fast. You may want to recommend a speech paste for me to go. Are we getting it now? Subscribe, turn on the notification button, share with your friends, and make sure the last thing that I want to tell you is, please, while you are attending this lecture, put yourself in the mood of lecture. Don't put yourself in the mood of watching a video. Take your pen, your books, sit down and practice with me as I solve these questions. Now, the first question is talking about permutation. When we talk about permutation, we are talking about the number of possible arrangements. Permutation means what? It means the number of possible arrangement. The number of possible arrangement. Assuming you have 10 boys in a room, what is the number of possible arrangement of those boys? Some of them, can they sit here? Can some sit at the other part of the room? Let's say this is a room and then you have 10 boys. Let's say you have 10 boys. In what way can these boys be arranged? That is what permutation is all about. It talks about the number of arrangements of objects given. Number of arrangements of objects given is what permutation. In how many ways can those objects be what? Arranged. Okay, simple. Now let's take this question. The question says, how many permutations can be made from the letter of the word triangle? Now the first thing we ought to do when we have a question like this is write out the triangle. So we are going to write it out. Triangle. Are we getting it now? Now the next we are going to do is we are going to count the number of letters in triangle. How many letters are in triangle? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we say we have 8 letters. Now we are now going to count the number of repetitions here. How many repetitions are here? Like how many numbers are repeated more than once, or how many letters are repeated more than once, rather more than one. So we are going to look, is there any letter repeated more than one? There is none. So in this case, we say the number of permutation will be what? 8 factorial. Now factorial means it's written like this, factorial, and it has a symbol. It's a Greek alphabet and it has a symbol like this. Now, if I say 4 factorial, I mean 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. If I say 3 factorial, I mean 3 times 2 times 1. So you'll be writing it in decreasing order. If I say 5 factorial, this becomes 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So if I say 8 factorial, it means what? 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 until you get to the last one. And when you do this, it's going to give, if you multiply everything here, this is going to give you 40320 ways or permutations. Are we getting it now? So the number of ways that this can be arranged, or the number of permutations, is 40320. Are we getting it now? Now, the next question is, what in a case where we have repetitions? For instance, the word mathematics. If you are asked how many permutations can be gotten from mathematics, Now we are going to count the total number of words in mathematics. Now note that this is not part of your continuous assessment test. I just want you to understand the concept of permutations before we go to the next. Now in mathematics, we are going to count the total number of words there, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we say we have 11 letters. Now the next thing we are going to count is how many repetitions do we have there and how many times were they repeated. Now in mathematics, M was repeated how many? Twice. So you say 2. Then A was repeated also how many times? 2. What other thing was repeated again? T was repeated how many times? Twice. Was H repeated? No. Was E repeated? No. What other thing again? S, was it repeated? No. So in mathematics, we see that about 3 of the letters were repeated twice. So what you are going to do is you come here and say to find the number of permutations in mathematics will be 11 factorial all over 2 factorial times 2 factorial times 2 factorials. So you are divided by the number of repetitions. Are we getting it now? You are divided by the number of repetition. And 11 factorial, of course, you can press your factorial in your calculator. Let me show you how you can achieve that. So if this is your calculator, now to press your factorial, all you need to do, press 11, since that's what you... Now having pressed 11, press shift. You are going to... Oh, this thing is leaving. Now when you press this in your calculator, 11 factorial is going to give you this. Then 2 factorial each is 2. This 2 factorial means 2. And this 2 factorial means 2. If you divide this with this, it's going to give us 498. Then we have 9600 ways in which the word mathematics can be arranged. So that is the part A of this particular question. Now let's look at the part B of the question. Now what is the part B saying? What is the part B saying? The part B says, how many of these will begin with T and end with E? How many of these would begin with T and end with E's? So let me clean my board. And then, of course, you know, this is not part of our question. I just want you to understand the concept, okay? So let's be at peace as we take this one together. How many of these will begin with T's and end with E? Now, for us to achieve that, what do? Write out triangle again. So this is triangle, T, arrow. If you write it again, now if they say how many of these will begin with T and end with E? Now the question I want to ask you is, what did we say permutation is talking about? We said permutation is talking about what? The number of possible arrangements. The number of possible arrangements. So if you have already a fixed position for any of the letters, it means that those letters won't be arranged. It's as easy as that. If you have a fixed position for any of the letters, it means that those letters will not be what? Arranged. Are we getting it now? So in that case, we can say that T and E, which they said they must start and end with T and E, those ones will be arranged because we know that they already what? Have their positions. So the only thing that will be arranged are what is in the middle. And that is what? Those ones are the ROIANGL. And how many are they? They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll count them as 6 factorial. Is there any repetition here? No, there is no repetition. If there is a repetition, then we divide by the number of repetitions there. But since there's no repetition, we just say 6 factorial. And 6 factorial is 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. When you multiply this, it's going to give you about 720 ways. So that is going to give us about 720 ways. Are we getting it now? So option A or question A, this is the answer. And then question B, this is the answer. So overall, this is the answer to this question. Now let's look at the next question. The next question says, from 7 gentlemen and 5 ladies, a committee of 5 is to be formed. In how many ways can this be done so as to include at least 2 ladies and 1 man? So as to include at least 2 ladies and 1 man. Now the question is, what are we talking about? We are talking about the other form of permutation, which is combination. We are talking about what? The other form of permutation, which is what? Combination. Now, combination is like selecting something from a whole. Like the proverb says that many are called, but selected not few. Many are called, but selected not few. Sorry. Many are called, but selected are few. Are we getting it now? So that is the general idea behind what? Combination. Like you collect from a whole. For instance, if we have 10 students and you choose 3 people to represent in an inter-school competition, then this becomes 10 combination 3. You choose 3 people from a class of 10 persons. So if there are 100 people in a class and then you choose, let's say, 20 to represent the school, so this becomes 100 combination 20. You collected 20 from what? 100. Now with that idea, we are now going to work with this. Now, in permutation, when we say and, it means multiply. Now, if we say or, it means what? Addition. More like probability. So let's analyze this question very well. From 7 gentlemen, 5 ladies, from 7 gentlemen and 5 ladies, a committee of 5 is to be formed. In how many ways can this be done so as to include at least 2 ladies and 1 man? Now, there are conditions attached to your choosing. You must put 2 ladies if you are choosing and 1 man if you are choosing. So, first of all, the number of men there, gentlemen, so let's use men to represent the gentlemen. The number of gentlemen there is how many? Is 7. And then the number of ladies is how many? Is 5. Now we have to choose at least 2 ladies and 1 man. That is to say, those 2 people, they must be what? 2 ladies must be present and 1 man. Maybe those people are the most intelligent people in the class. You never can tell. So let's continue. Now, with that idea, let's pick our committee. We can say, since they said we must put 2 ladies, let's first of all take those 2 ladies. So how many ladies are in the class in total? 5. So if we are taking, or let's start with men. Okay? Now how many men are in the class in total? We have 7 men. If you must take 1 man, let's just take that man first and keep aside. 7 combination 1. Now it means that the rest position will be filled by what? Ladies. It means that the rest position will be filled by what? Ladies. Now, how many ladies are in the class? 5. You need 5 people for the committee. You've already chosen 1 man. So it means that you can choose 4 ladies. Are we getting it? To complete it to be how many? 5. They will now say plus. Now, the next one is, you may decide to choose 2 men because they said at least 1 man. So it means it can be greater than 1, but at least 1 man should be present. So we can decide to choose 2 men this time. So if we have 7 combination 2 times, and then how many women are in the class? 5. Now if you're already choosing 2 men, it means that how many women are you going to choose to make it complete? 5. A committee of 5 is to be formed. So 5 people must be present. You already choose 2 men. How many women do you need to choose to make it complete? You need 3 women. Are you hearing it now? Then plus. Now the next thing is 7 combination. Now, if you say, let's choose 3 men times. Now, how many women must you choose to complete it to be 5? 5 combination what? 2 women, which is 2 ladies. Now, but in the condition attached, we can decide to say plus. Look at something I'm going to do now. The conditions attached now will make this particular selection not to work. Now we can say let's choose 4 men, which is 7 combination 4 times 5 combination. Now, if you choose 4 men, it means you need just 1 woman to make it 5, right? But the condition said there must be how many ladies? 2 ladies. So it means that this one will not work because you already choose 4 men and you just need 1 lady to complete it 5. So this selection cannot work. Hence, we'll end there. Now, let us simplify what we have. We have 7 combination 1. 7 combination 1 is what? 7 combination 1 is 7 shift combination 7 shift combination 1. It means what? 7. Now, when you're talking about combination means if you have n combination arrow, it means n factorial all over n minus 1 factorial, n minus arrow factorial arrow factorial. So if I have 7 combination 1, it means what? 7 factorial all over 7 minus 1 factorial, because arrow is 1. Then we have arrow is what? 1 again, 1 factorial, which is 7 factorial all over 7 minus 1 is what? 6. So we have 6 factorial 1 factorial. Of course, you know 7 factorial is 7 times 6 factorial divided by 6 factorial times 1 factorial is 1. So when 6 cancels 6, you are left with 7. That was how we got this. But it's something that you can actually press in your calculator. So we now have the next one as 5 combination 4. What would 5 combination 4 be? So you come to your calculator and say 5 shift combination 4, and that will give us 5. So 5 combination 4 is 5. So we say this is times 5 plus the next one we have is 7 shift combination 7 shift then combination 2, and that will give us 21 plus 21 times, then we have 5 combination 3. 5 combination 3. 5 combination 3 will give us 10 plus the next one is 7 combination 3 and this will give us 35. 7 combination 3 will give us 35 times, then we have 5 combination 2. 5 shift combination 2, and that will give us 10. Now 7 times 5 is 35 plus 21 times 10 is 210. 35 times 10 is 350. Now when you add this together, this is 210. When you add everything here together, 35 plus 210 plus 350, which will now be what? 595 ways. So there are 595 ways to go about this. It's as easy as that. Are we getting it now? 595 ways. Now, please, in this question, if you notice any error, please make sure that you call my attention to it. Are we getting it? If you notice any error, please, you can just comment on the comment section below. Maybe with the combinations and the rest. Are we getting it now? But this is the approach. Now, like I told you earlier, and means what? Multiplication, and or means what? Addition. Now, what we did here is either you choose 1 man and 4 girls, that was why we multiplied here, or we now add 2 men, 3 girls, or we add 3 girls and 2 men. Are you getting it now? So that is the solution to that question. Let's look at the next. The next says, prove by mathematical induction that for all positive integers of n, 8 raised to the power of n plus 6 is divisible by 7. Now, whenever you are given a question like that, you have to set up hypothesis. Now, the hypothesis is 1, that when you put n is equal to 1, it will be what? True. That is to say, if you put n is equal to 1 into this equation, what will happen? Will it give us a number that is divisible by 7. If you have proved that n is equals to 1 is true, then the next one is you prove that n is equals to k is also true. Is also what? True. Now for this one, you may not just need to copy because you haven't done it, and I will have to teach the course all over from the beginning again. And then the next one is if n is equals to k is true, then n is equals to k plus 1 will also be true. Are we getting it now? So if all the three are true, it means that this integers here, or this expression here, is divisible by 7. So how do we go about that? Let's take a deep breath. Now let's solve. It's a very simple one. Let's go together. Now, how do we prove that n is equals to 1 is true? This is what is called the base statement. The base statement. Prove that n is equals to 1 is true. Now, in this case, we'll be looking at some integers and anything that is a variable. Now, before I continue, know that if you have something like 5 raised to the power of m, you know that this 5 raised to the power of m is what? Divisible by what? 5. If I have, let's say, 2 raised to the power of n, it means that this is also divisible by 2 because 2 going to here will give us what? 1. Do you get it now? If you understand this concept, then we may now want to proceed with the proof. Now, the first one said, prove that 8n plus 6 is divisible by 7. Now, if your n is equals to 1, what are we going to have here? 8n, then we have plus 6. Let's prove that it's equals to 1. So if n is equals to, it can be divisible by 7. If n is equals to 1, what are we going to have here? This would be 8 to the power of 1 plus 6. Now, 8 to the power of 1 plus 6 is how many? 14. Now, the question is 14 divisible by 7? If you divide 14 by 7, it's going to give us what? 2. So this is true. That if you put n is equals to 1, this whole stuff here is divisible by what? 7. Are we getting it now? That is the first step. You've proved that that first step is correct. So this statement is what? Correct. Now the next one is prove that n is equals to k is also correct. Now if n is equals to k is correct, how do we go about that? Now, let's say n is equals to k. Here you have 8k. Wherever you see k, you put, wherever you see n, you put k rather, plus 6. And this should be equal to, let's say, 7m. Are we getting it? Why did we say it's equals to 7m? Because anything that carries 7, let's say if 7 is standing here and then a variable is attached, it means that this something can be divisible by what? 7. This is just the general approach for proving stuff like this. So 8 raised to the power of k plus 6 must be equals to 7m because 7m is divisible by 7. So if 8 raised to the power of k plus 6 is equals to some multiples of m or some multiples of 7, that means this whole thing is also divisible by 7. So what we are going to do now is make 8k subject to the formula. So 8 raised to the power of k will be equals to 7m minus 6. Now, the next thing we are going to, for n is equals to k plus 1. Now, for n is equals to k plus 1, what does it mean? Wherever we see n, we put what? K plus 1. So we have, what do we have here? We have 8 raised to the power of n plus 6. So put 8 plus 1 inside. This becomes n, and this becomes, 8. Wherever you see n, put k plus 1 plus 6. It should be equals to any integer also, but a multiple of what? 7. So this 7l. Let's use 7l to prove this one. Now notice something, or you may decide to leave this one like this. Notice something. According to the laws of indices, if I have a raised to the power of m plus n, I told you that this can be written as a raised to the power of m times what? A raised to the power of n. Why? Because if the bases are equal, we can add the power. Now if we add the power, this becomes a m plus what? N, which is still the same thing as what we have here. So similar case can occur here, where you have this can be written as 8 raised to the power of k, then plus, this becomes what? 8 raised to the power of what? 1, then plus what? 6. This will be equals to anything. Are we getting it now? Now, wherever we see 8 to the power of k, what do we put there? Wherever we see 8 to the power of k, sorry, this is multiplication. Because 8k plus 1 can be written as 8k plus 1 can be written as 8 to the power of k times 8 to the power of 1. Now recall that our 8k here is equals to 7m minus what? 6. Our 8k here is equals to 7m minus 6. So we are going to put this here. And this will give us 7m minus 6 bracket. Then we now have 8 plus 6. And this will be equals to, use 8 to open through. Now 7 times 8 will give us what? 56. So 7m times 8 will give us 56m minus 6 times 8 will give us what? 48 plus 6. And this will be equals to 48 plus 6 is what? 48 or minus 48 plus 6 minus 48 plus 6 is equals to what? Minus 42. So if I want to write it at this part, we'll now have here 56m minus 42. This one must be equal to some integers that may be divided by what? This. Now, what do we do? Factorize here. If we factorize out, what do you think we are going to have? Now, factorize out. Can you bring out 7 from these two things? Can 7 go into 42? 42 divided by 7 is what? Is 6. Can 7 go into 56? 56 divided by 7 is what? Is 8. So 7 can go into both of them. So you now say 7 outside, then here becomes 8m minus what? Minus, this one is what? 7. 8m minus, sorry, minus 6, not 7. 8m minus 6. So we said that these ones, there are some integers. Are we getting it? They are integers. When you say, they are variables. This can be anything. But the main fact is that we can divide this whole thing by 7. True or false? If we divide this by 7, 7 will cancel what? 7. So we are left with 8m minus what? 6. So that is how you've been able to prove that this whole nonsense here is able to be divided by 7. Now, I know that this one may seem somehow confusing. Now, what you just need to do in this case is copy. When we have our physical class, I'm going to explain in details how the process of mathematical induction takes place. So let's look at the next question. The next question says, factorize completely this whole thing here using the factor theorem. Now, how do we go about this? It's very easy. Now, the factor theorem, this is raised to the power of x raised to the power of what? 4 minus what? 3s raised to the power of 3 plus 4s squared minus 8. Now, using the factor theorem, what do you think we are going to have? Now, first of all, we are going to do the trial and error. We are going to substitute in 1, minus 1, 2, minus 2, and see the one that will give us the first factor. But for the sake of this lecture, we can't continue trying. I will just give you the one that will work out. So how do we find the first factor? Now, the first factor is you put in values in such a way that when you put them in, they will give you 0. Anything that will divide something through, or when you substitute it in to give you 0, that is a factor of the expression given. Are we getting it now? So in this case, let us try if x is equals to 1 and see whether it will give us 0. Now put it in, this becomes 1 raised to the power of 4, 3 raised to the power of 1, 3, plus 4 bracket 1 square minus 8. 1 raised to the power of 4 is 1, minus 3, plus 4 minus 8. 1 minus 3 is minus 2, then 4 minus 8 is, plus 4 minus 8 is minus 4. and minus 2 minus 4 will give us minus 6. So this one has a remainder of minus 6, so we can't use this one. This one cannot be a factor. Okay, now the next one is, let's try, because we are trying both positive and negative, let's try when s is equals to minus 1 and see. Now if s is equals to minus 1, this will give us minus 1 raised to the power of 4 minus 3 bracket minus 1 to the power of 3 plus 4 bracket minus 1 square minus what? 8. Now this will be minus 1 raised to the power of 4 is 1. Now you have minus 3 bracket minus 1 raised to the power of 3 is minus 1 plus 4 bracket minus this is what? 1 minus 1 square rather is 1, then minus 8. And this will give us 1 minus 3 times minus 1 is plus 3, then plus 4 minus 8. 1 plus 1 is 4. 1 plus 3 rather is 4. Now, look at what we are going to do here. Plus 4 minus 8 is minus 4. 4 minus 4 is what? 0. So if it gives you 0 as a remainder, it means that that is a factor. So we found our first factor now. The first factor in this particular equation is, or expression rather, is s is equals to minus 1. Now to bring it to factor form, what do we do? Take this one to this side, so it becomes x. If minus 1 crosses to this side, become plus 1 is equals to 0. So the first factor is s plus 1. You now come here and keep this one aside as x plus 1. That's the first factor. Now, how do we get subsequent factors? How do we get subsequent factors? It's somehow very, very easy, but we are going to try it. First of all, we need to use this s plus 1 to divide this and see what is going to be left as the remainder. If you use s plus 1 to divide this, or let's try other factors and see the one that will go. Let me try s is equal to 2 and see if it will go into this stuff. So trying s is equals to 2, what is it going to give to us? To be 2 raised to the power of 4 minus 3 bracket 2 raised to the power of 3 plus 4 bracket 2 raised to the power of 2 minus 8. And this will be 2 raised to the power of 4 is 16 minus 3 bracket 8 plus 4. 2 square is 4 minus 8. And this will give us 16 minus 24 plus 16 minus 8. 16 minus 24 is minus 8. 16 minus 8 is what? Plus 8. And this will be what? 0. So the other factor, we can say s plus 2 is another factor because it gave us remainder of what? 0. So take this one to this side. There's no shortcut to this. And this becomes s minus 2 equal to 0. So the next factor is s minus 2. Come here and say s minus 2. Now, what we are going to do now is we can decide to multiply these two together. And then anything it gives to us, let's use it to divide this to get our last factor. So multiply these two together. What is it going to give to us? S times s is s squared. S times minus 2 is minus 2s. 1 times s is plus s. 1 times minus 2 is minus 2. Are we getting it now? So this gives us s squared. Minus 2s plus s is minus s. Then minus 2. Now, what we are now going to do is use that expression now to divide this thing using the long division method to get our last factor. We are trying to use the factor theorem. This is how the factor theorem works. Okay? So, let's divide this. You have this. What do we have there? S squared minus x minus 2. Let me write it well. We have s squared minus s minus 2. There you have this. What are you dividing? S to the power of 4 minus 3s to the power of 3 plus 4s squared minus 8. Now let's go. If s squared divide s raised to the power of 4, what are we left with? We are left with s squared. Okay? Can clear this off. We are left with s squared. Now let's use this s squared to multiply this. What is it going to give to us? S squared times s squared will give us s raised to the power of 4 minus s squared times s will give us s to the power of 3 minus s squared times 2 will give us 2s squared. Are we getting it now? At this point in time, you can now subtract. When this subtract this, what is it going to give to us? This subtract this will give us 0. Then we are left with, we have 0. We are left with minus 3s squared minus s cubed. Minus 3s squared minus s cubed. So this will give us minus 3s squared minus is plus. Minus 3s squared minus 3s cubed minus s squared. Let's write it here. Minus 3s cubed minus is plus s cubed. So this one will give us minus 3s squared. This one will give us minus 2s cubed. So come here and say minus 2s cubed. Then 4s squared minus 2s squared. Minus will be plus. There we have 6s squared. Are we getting it now? Now, we are going to use this now to divide this. Then we'll bring out our 8, of course. When this divide by this, what is it going to give to us? This will give us plus. When this divide this, to give us plus or minus rather, because there's minus there, it was minus 2. Then when minus 2s. When minus 2s times this, it will give us minus 2s cubed. Then minus 2s times minus s will give us plus, let me use a different pen to differentiate. This will give us minus 2s cubed. Minus 2s times minus s give us plus 2s squared. Then minus 2s times minus 2 will give us plus 4x. Then when you subtract this, what is it going to give to us? Or do we subtract? Yes, we subtract this. So this one cancel to give us 0. This minus this will give us 4s squared. Then of course we have minus 4s. There here we have what? Plus 8. Are we getting it now? So at the end of the day, what do you think we are going to have? You use this now to divide this. If this goes into this, it's going to give us plus 4. 4 times this is 4s squared. 4 times minus s is minus 4x. And then 4 times minus 2 is what? Minus 8. And then when you divide this or subtract everything here, this will give us 0. Minus 4 minus is plus, which will give us what? 0. Then this also, here is supposed to be minus 8. So we have minus 8 minus, which we got minus 8 plus 8 will also give us what? 0. So the next factor we have is what is on top here. Are we getting it now? So this will be our next factor. So we already had 2 factors. And then the last is what we have here. The next will be s squared minus 2s plus 4. Are we getting it now? So if we factorize this, the factors are s plus 1, x minus 2, s squared minus 2s plus 4. There are no shortcuts to this. First of all, you do trial and error. If you've got one factor, you can use that one factor to divide through to get the other factors. Is that clear? So that is everything for this particular lecture. I think we are done with the question and answer session. Congratulations to you. And please note that this particular one was somehow difficult and hard to understand. Reason being that you've not had the basis of most of these things, especially when it comes to mathematical induction. I'm going to teach you from, even myself, I was not, I was confused on where to start from explaining this to you because I know you don't have any understanding of this before now. But as time progresses, we are going to have much idea on the mathematical induction and how to provide solution to it. So thank you and congratulations to you on your successful completion. Now, if you like this, please hit the like button, comment below, and also share with your friends. Thank you.